Hey, everybody. It is Reset Monday once again. Yes, it happens every week. Listen, this week's episode is all about getting things done. With summer here, our list of all of our projects that we want to get accomplished, it just seems to be getting longer, doesn't it? There's so many things that are piled up in front of us, and it creates frustration. It creates lack of motivation. There's these lists just starts to pile and pile, and then that list gets piled on top of all of the things, perhaps inside the house, that you didn't accomplish over the winter, or maybe you have a book you want to read, or maybe you're working on projects for work, but you've got some looming gardening or yard work that needs to get done, or it's time to clean out the garage and maybe some closets and things like that. So this is really critical, because as we start to move into the summer and we start to add more projects to our list, we can get overwhelmed. We can feel we can just feel like, wow, what's the point? Things can pile up even further. We'll feel unproductive. And so today's Reset Monday is using the meme, how do you eat an elephant? And do you guys know the answer to that? It is one bite at a time. You just eat the elephant one bite at a time. And so with these projects, this is really what it comes down to, is the projects are big, right? So maybe it's planting a garden. Like I said, it's yard work. Maybe you got to clean out the flower beds. You have to plant flowers. Maybe you have to clean out the garage, which is all your stuff that's piled up from winter. And you got to get out there and you've got to get this done. Maybe you want to get a dumpster and spend the whole day which is what I want to do, just taking things, excuse me, and dumping it into the dumpster, really purging. Those are projects that take a lot of time, a lot of energy, not just physically, but mentally, right? If you're going to clean things out, again, closets, bedrooms, cabinets, your garage, wherever it is, if you're going to do that, it requires some bandwidth, because you have to be willing to let go, don't you? So when you start to talk about your projects and you start to list them out, this is a really great way to start to think about how can you get these projects done. So we want to tackle this elephant one bite at a time. So where can you start that you can just start to scratch the surface? Do some little things. Oftentimes when I have a big project looming and I just don't know where to start, I'll go and I'll do maybe 2 or 3 smaller projects that might take 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, that makes me feel like I've accomplished something. So that's another way too. So if you start with something that's small and you make an accomplishment within, like I say, 10 or 15 minutes, now it's like you're exercising your production muscle. And now you can actually go and take that power, that energy that you've just started to like fuel the engine, and you can now start to go into your bigger projects and chunk them down. So chunking them down is this elephant, just one bite at a time. This particular phrase, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It has been it's said that it is from Saint Francis Assisi, and that he said this, or Desmond Tutu. I think both of them have been credited with having this statement. But either way, whoever said it, it's just so true, because we just have, we need to feel accomplished in our lives, and this is one way to do it. So where do you start? Okay. If you are there's some secrets to this. Okay. So we are, we've got a big project. One of the things is enlist help, right? So as far as, let's say, gardening. So I had my garden planted. I got delayed by about 3 weeks from a trip. And then I was sidelined with some cold that couldn't do anything for 2 weeks. So my garden still had to get in the ground. Well, I enlisted the help of the guy that does my lawn. And I said, "Hey, are you available to come and help me put in some dirt, create the beds, move the fencing around?" And he was. So enlist help, find people who can help you. So that was a really, he's already here, he's already doing the work. I just have to give him a heads up to, prioritize a couple of extra hours here. And of course, I'm paying him for that. So having somebody there that can help you again feel more accomplished, move the ball down the field for you. So also when we talk about this one step, this one bite at a time, find the fun pieces, right? So find if you can take this large project and pull some small pieces out of it. Maybe if you're going to clean out the fridge, which is always a good idea, the refrigerator seems to get piled in. And I don't know why this is really revolving mostly around cleaning. I think mostly because this is what I'm hearing my patients tell me. It's the spring cleaning, it's the gardening, it's the yard work, it's power washing the patio. What are all the things? So maybe it's one shelf at a time in the refrigerator. Maybe you have junk drawers that need to be cleaned out, and instead of doing the whole bank, maybe it's one drawer at a time. Um, we have an overwhelming amount of makeup in my bathroom between my daughter and myself. And so I've been cleaning out one drawer at a time. Feels amazing, right? So what I would really like to do is take the whole day and just go through the whole bathroom. But that's not within the timeline of things that I'm capable of doing right now. And so I'm just taking it one bite at a time. And it still feels accomplished, right? So, and I took the most obvious drawer, the drawer that we use most often. That's where I started. Then I'll go into the second most obvious drawer. So think about it like that, is that chunking it down into places that are, you're going to see it, you're going to feel it, it's going to definitely appear like you made progress. I had a bunch of cardboard boxes that I was saving because I was going to actually put them into the garden and then put straw over top of it, just as a way to help keep the weeds down. And I started to think about all the labor and cutting the boxes, and that alone got overwhelming for me. So I decided I was like, I'm scrapping this. So I'm scrapping that project. And I took all the boxes and they're out at the curb, broke them all down, and they are waiting for recycling now. It cleared up a whole side of my garage because I'd been saving them for the garden. I've been saving them for the past several months. So don't be afraid to abandon a plan. And that's okay too, because if it's something that is going to uh sometimes it's not always necessary to do all the things. I can manage the weeds in my garden in other ways. I don't need to do the cardboard project. So what is it that you're doing that maybe you're taking on too much, that maybe you're making it more work than it really needs to be, and maybe you just need to let go of some of that, the perfection of it, let go of that. It doesn't have to be perfect. So get done what you can get done. Again, what can you say yes to and what can you say no to? And then be sure to celebrate your wins. You have got to be able to pat yourself on the back, look around and just go, yeah, this is great. When had my first day that I felt really good to get out and actually plant my garden, and my poor vegetable plants were struggling and my flowers were struggling, and it was tough because everything's going to die, right? So I got out there and I started planting. I said, okay, I'm going to put the vegetable plants in the ground first. That's what I'm going to do. So the guy who cuts my lawn, he came, he put all the bags of dirt in there. He emptied them out, graded the mounds and everything. So I started with the vegetables and I put those in, and it was going to rain. And by the time I finished is about when the rain was supposed to start, but it hadn't started raining yet. And it was the first day I was really feeling good after about 2 weeks. So, I said to myself, "Okay, you better go inside and rest." And then I kind of like stood up and I was like, "Actually, I feel really good right now." So I kept on. Now, I could have easily stopped and I would have still felt really accomplished. But I kept going. The rain wasn't there. I was feeling good physically, mentally. I ended up getting all of my flowers in, and that was another huge accomplishment. And it was great. And I was like, whoa, I can't even believe this. So I got everything planted. And right when I finished, it started raining. So it was perfect. It was like the universe was telling me, it's okay, keep going, and you'll be able to rest soon enough. But I wasn't driving myself into the ground physically. I actually felt good enough to still be out there. And then when I was done, it felt great to come in and just rest. So, you can take things in chunks like that. Tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do this part of the project right now. And then when I'm done with it, just take a pulse. How are you doing? Do you have the time to continue? Do you have the physical capacity to continue? Do you have the mental emotional capacity to continue? And then if the answer is yes to all of that, then just keep going. But the next segment that you start on should have a beginning and an end to it, meaning like, okay, I'm going to start with this. Okay, the vegetables go in the garden. Then the flowers needed to be planted. Those are two separate, potentially separate projects that I was able to get both of those done. So think about breaking it down like that, right? So if it's cleaning out garden beds, maybe you just start with two of the garden beds or one, depending on how big they are. I still have mulch that needs to get down, and I still have to put more straw down. That's not particularly bothersome to me because I know I'll get out there on Wednesday. That'll be my next day to get out and work in the garden and do that. So, so again, like planning and scheduling and the consistency of being able to complete that project is really important. And then in this whole process, you have to trust the process, right? So you have to trust that you can, trust that you'll be able to get it done in pieces and parts, one bite at a time, so that it doesn't overwhelm you, so it doesn't detract from other parts of your life. And again, maybe your mental bandwidth, maybe, I have to have a balance of things that I do for my business and things that I do for home. If I'm really happy to be working on things in my home because if I'm not, I'm constantly working on my business. And that's not healthy either. So think about, what are you doing in this time? Are you actually being productive? Are you driving in a way that gives you diversity in the things that are fueling you? So, if you're constantly sitting at a computer, um, you know, working on your business, or then maybe then you come home and then you're on the computer doing something else, or just think about your productivity and changing scenery, right? So I don't think sitting in front of the computer is the healthiest thing we could be doing at all, ever, even though I'm here, but I'm here for you guys. So make sure you're taking these projects and prioritizing them properly. And then you could say, well, this is a high priority here today, and this particular product, I don't really need to get this one done for another couple of weeks. So understand your timeline of things, and also laying out what are all the things you want to accomplish over the summer. So right now, my garden is planted, the flowers are done, and so now I have to concern myself with weeding and making sure that everyone's happy and watered, and that's okay. Now everything's on autopilot, and so there's mulch to be laid down. Again, not a high priority. I've got a garden bed in the front that I need to get weeded out, but I'm not growing food out there. So look at all of your different projects and don't make yourself crazy thinking they all have to be done today. It's okay. I would list them out and then again, prioritize them by number. But then even if you take your high priority project, can that be broken down into different segments that you can then do little parts and pieces at a time. I remember reading, or I actually listened to it. I was on a CD, and it was is it the four? It might have been the 4 hour work. Anyway, it was an audio book on time management. I can't remember what it was, but one of the examples that he used was completing the wash cycle. And I think about this all the time, and I actually apply it to people, places, things, projects, events, because it makes so much sense that when you start something, where you want to stop it is you want to complete the wash cycle, put it in the dryer so you get that whole load of laundry done. So don't, if you're going to start a project, don't stop it in the middle of the wash cycle. Complete the wash cycle, put it in the dryer, and then you can go on to the next thing. So think about your projects like that is where does this one big project, you can easily look at it and go, oh, there's a beginning and an end here, and there's a beginning and an end here. And you can start to break it down like that and then do things in pieces and parts. And then what that also allows you to do is stop and stretch and rest, come in and get lunch, go take a walk the dog if you wanted to, or just do other things. So having a stopping point is really important. Again, because again, even if it's just a small chunk, it feels super accomplished. And if you then get called away and you need to go somewhere else, you're like, oh, I actually got quite a bit done today. So, all right. So how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. All right. Listen, I hope this was really helpful. I know so many people are overwhelmed by all of these projects that we have for the summer. I have resolved myself. There's things in the house that I still need to get done, but it's summertime and I'm not willing to sacrifice a beautiful sunny day to clean my hall closet that needs cleaning. But it's okay. I've resolved myself to that, right? I'm like, it'll be there. And then perhaps on a rainy day, I will come inside and I'll save that project either for a rainy day or for the fall. So it's not horrible, but you know what I mean? Like sometimes you just got to get in and purge and clean. And so think about it that way, prioritizing it. And certainly, by all means, do not sacrifice a beautiful sunny day to be in your home working on something when you could be outside enjoying the beautiful weather. I know here in Michigan, we have a very short summer, so it's not worth the sacrifice. All right, you guys, I hope that was helpful. This was your Reset Monday. So when you're resetting, remember, eat that elephant one bite at a time. Set small goals, chunk it down so you feel accomplished, trust the process, and don't be afraid to abandon something in the process that might not be serving you. All right. I hope that was super helpful. I will see you on the next Reset Monday. Thank you as always for being here. Please share this with somebody who who's feeling a little overwhelmed right now and could use this advice. All right. We'll see you soon.